Today we are doing a mini marathon.
It seems like it's a mini marathon. Mini in that it's little meals.
Meals for one or two, but still a marathon because we have been cooking for hours and hours.
It's been a long day.
And hours. But we want to show you how you can make these meals, get them in your freezer so that you don't have to think about what to make every day. These are perfect if you live on your own, if there's just two of you, or if you need meals to take for lunches. We are going to show you step by step by step how to get all of this done and get these into your freezer. And we weren't totally sure how it was gonna go because some of the meals were planned and some of them we did on the fly.
Sometimes that happens with us. If you've been around a while, you've noticed.
Because of that, we're gonna end up with, we're not totally sure yet, but it's gonna be around 50 meals, maybe over 50 meals.
It could be over 50 meals. Now, these are individual meals. These are something that you could eat in one sitting. Maybe you'll have enough for leftovers, or maybe two of you could enjoy it. Kind of depends on your appetite and how much you normally eat. But there's a terrific amount of variety here. If there's one thing we are great at, it is that.
So what we did first thing this morning is we took a Kahlua Pork that we had. It was a freezer meal, so it was in the freezer, but it was raw when it went in. So to make this in the first place, all we had done, it's 3 ingredients, like, doesn't get easier, is we had taken a pork roast, put it in a large resealable freezer bag, and then put some salt and liquid smoke on it. That's it, that's all. Super easy.
That is super easy.
Got the air out of that because when you're freezer cooking, air causes your freezer burn. And then that was in the freezer. Now, we had to thaw it in order to make it today, but it was safe to do that because it wasn't cooked in the first place. So we can thaw it, cook it up, and then get it back in the freezer. So this is sort of where it's cooking in the slow cooker behind us.
Right now, you're seeing magic happen in the moment.
And that's why we say we don't totally know how many meals we're gonna end up with at the end of this because I don't know, it's a pretty large pork roast.
It's a pretty big pork roast and we're not entirely sure how much we're gonna get out of it.
So when we're all done, we'll shred it up, put it into quart-sized bags, and then that will be a meal. But Kahlua Pork is not a full meal. And we wanted to give you as many full meals as possible, so we did a little something fun. We made twice baked potatoes.
And they are so delicious looking. Like, you're gonna look at these and I think you might actually start salivating. It could really happen. And we've had them before. We did a video way back and we thought these are gonna be a great thing to put into an individual meal. So let me grab them and I'll show you, and then you can start salivating and we'll tell you about them.
Don't those look amazing?
They actually really, really do.
Restaurant quality.
And I think, like, as I was filling them, I'm thinking, I've got so much filling here, it's not gonna make it all in, I'm not gonna fit it all in, but I totally piled it up and it's in. They're great.
Now, the reason that we thought of making the twice baked potatoes again, although we've sometimes said, oh, those were really good, but is because Lynette, who is in our membership club and she's in our Facebook group, she has made these for her parents a lot and they are their favorite thing.
Yes, so thank you, Lynette, for the inspiration. We inspire you, you inspire us, and so we made these in your name today.
So these are for Lynette and her parents and for any of the rest of you who want them. And since Christy made them and Christy's better at potatoes in general, I'm gonna let her tell you how she did that.
Awesome. Start out with your potatoes, clean them up really well, and dry them. You can take a knife and cut off any parts that look like they're a little bit suspicious, like they're dirty or they've been hit with a fork while they've been picked. You want to poke the potatoes with a fork and then brush them with olive oil and sprinkle them with salt and pepper on both sides. I forgot to poke them with the fork before I put the olive oil and salt and pepper on, so I did it backwards and my hands got a little dirty, but that's okay. I washed my hands about 7,000 times today, so we're good. What's one more? We're gonna bake these in the oven for 45 to 65 minutes, depending on the size of the potato. These potatoes, I had like some big ones and some little ones, so the big ones were perfect and the little ones were a little bit overcooked, but that was just the way they came in the bag, and that's okay. We allowed them to cool for a bit until you can handle them. You cut them in half lengthwise, and then you scoop the insides out, leaving a little rim around the edge of the potato. Then you can put them back in the oven and let those shells crisp up for another 10 minutes or so while you're making the filling. So let me tell you about this filling. We are gonna start with our potatoes that we have. We're gonna add in some melted butter and sour cream and whipping cream, and then our seasonings. We're gonna add in some salt, pepper, paprika, some dill, a little bit of cayenne pepper. We didn't have chives today, so I used green onions instead, which is funny because later on in the recipe it does say, you know, you can add some green onions. So we just did it in the beginning part, and that's okay. You mix your green onions in, some more shredded cheese, and some bacon bits. Then you can add that filling back into the potatoes, and you can freeze them just like this. You can freeze them right on this tray in the freezer, then you can transfer them to a bag. Once you have these in the freezer and use them whenever you want. If you want to have some with your Kahlua pork, you can go right ahead. If you want to just have one on its own, there is nothing stopping you from doing that. You're gonna let it thaw, you're gonna put it back in the oven, 400 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. You can add, you know, some more bacon bits or onions or chives or cheddar cheese if you want. Nobody is going to stop you, and you just go ahead and enjoy that potato.
I think you could probably do these in the microwave.
Oh, I think you totally could.
Because Costco used to sell them, the double stuffed potatoes. Maybe they still do, but we make our own, so don't need to get them from there. And they were totally microwavable. So
okay.
I think you could microwave these up. When we did our original twice baked potatoes video, I'm gonna pop a link to that right up there. It'll also be in the description down below. We did 3 different varieties of these. We stuffed it with, like, one of them had black beans and corn.
We did like a Tex-Mex.
And what was the other one? It's been
I want
a
to say
while.
it was a while. I want to say it was maybe spicy, or like, did we have like jalapeno in it?
Oh, maybe it was like jalapeno, bacon, cheddar.
You're gonna have to watch this and tell us.
Let us know.
Because we can't remember.
We clearly have forgotten.
So here's something funny about baked potatoes. Arby's sells them. You can go to Arby's, and for years and years and years, my mom was a realtor a long time ago, and if she had a bet with somebody, like with a client or somebody from the office, she would say, I bet you a baked potato I'm right. And then that way, you know, you get to go out for whichever one wins. Who cares? It was $1.50.
Right.
And you get to go and have an excuse to go have a coffee and a nice baked potato for lunch. And it was just really funny and a really good way to make a fun bet.
And if you make them at home, they're probably less than $1.50.
I would bet that maybe even now, like that was 25 years ago. Right. Even now they would be less than $1.50.
Okay, so now you've got your Kahlua pork and baked potato option, but while we had the potatoes in the oven, the pork in the slow cooker, I made a mulligatawny soup on the stovetop because I have to tell you, we did a mega session recently where we made 156 meals. Kind of 166, but you'll have to go check out that video to hear the story behind that. And in that video, we did a lot of experiment, new recipes, and one of them was mulligatawny soup. Oh, it's so good.
It is really good.
So good, so flavorful, and just like a party in your mouth.
It was exciting.
Say that, but
I say this makes my mouth excited,
yes.
Or this is exciting in my mouth.
But this one, like, true story here. So I wanted to make it because when we did that video, we only made 2, one for my house and one for Christy's house.
Because it was brand new and we weren't sure.
Like, are these apples gonna freeze okay? Like, you just don't know, right?
It froze okay.
froze beautifully. So today we're making it a little bit differently because we're making it completely cooking it. When we made it in the video, we threw all the ingredients in the bag, and then on the day of, we cooked it on the stovetop. Today, we're cooking it entirely and then getting it into individual bags and having it already cooked, all ready to go. And that'll be so nice because then you're just reheating.
It's just a reheat. It is so easy. And if you are having a chilly day, this one will warm you up from the inside. There's a bit of heat in it. I wouldn't say it's like spicy though.
I made this one spicier.
Okay. This one is a little bit spicier. And that's the nice thing about freezer meals is you can control your own spice level. It doesn't have to be what your neighbor should have or what your best friend thinks is spicy when really it isn't.
Right. This one is designed for our family, so it is like kicked up a notch. So I'll tell you what I did in the pot and then let you know how to do this. We heated up a little bit of oil in there, added some chopped onion, and then it calls for peeled and diced carrot. I would have had to peel and dice carrots, which is not the end of the world for sure, but left over from when we did that mega session, we had a bunch of matchstick carrots from the store, and so I just popped open that bag and threw those in there because this is getting blended. So it doesn't matter what condition your carrots are in when they go in this, they're all gonna taste the same in the end anyway. Then I added some jalapeno. Now we did double this recipe, so I added 2 jalapenos, and you were supposed to seed and dice them, but for ours, I kept the seeds in there and kept the membranes in there, and then added some minced garlic just from a jar, some minced ginger from the squeezy tube that we like, then some Granny Smith apples that are cored and diced. We kept the peel on them. Now the reason I doubled it is because it calls for a 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes, which is half of the 28-ounce cans we keep on hand. So I didn't want to waste half a can, so threw the whole thing in there. Then some curry powder, cumin, paprika, cinnamon, turmeric, cardamom, which I didn't have so I skipped, thyme, red lentils, and salt and pepper. I also added vegetable broth and let that come to a boil, turned it down to a simmer, and while we were working on other recipes, that was cooking on the stovetop. When everything in there was nice and soft, I took an immersion blender to it, and the nice thing about doing that today is that on the day I go to eat these, the immersion blender part's already been done. Mm-hmm. And then after that, you pour in some coconut milk, and we're letting it cool right now before we put it into our bags, because when you're freezer cooking, it's a really important step that you allow everything to cool before putting it in your freezer. Otherwise, you're gonna get some condensation, and well, there's lots of other reasons too. You don't wanna heat up what's already in your freezer, you don't wanna spend more electricity, all these things. But mostly, that condensation can lead to freezer burn too.
That's right.
One of the things that we like to show you is, and we have a video of it, so I'm gonna pop that there, and that's that even if you live on your own, you can still buy in bulk.
Yes, you can.
So we do love Costco.
We do love Costco around here.
And we got these flour tortillas, big packs from Costco, and so we're gonna be doing a lot of things with them today because there are a lot of things you can do with your flour tortillas, and when you're cooking for one, they kind of naturally make individual meals.
Yes, they do. And how handy is that?
We are making buffalo chicken quesadillas, buffalo chicken taquitos, cheeseburger quesadillas,
yes,
and beef taquitos, all with those flour tortillas. So that's a lot, and a lot of variety, considering that we're starting with the same main ingredient. So for the buffalo chicken quesadillas, we took some chicken, cooked it up, shredded it, and we can use some of it for the buffalo chicken quesadillas. We can use some of that when it's already coated in the buffalo sauce for the buffalo chicken taquitos. And we did still have some shredded chicken left after that, so we'll come up with another use for that in a little bit. But for our buffalo chicken quesadillas, we're gonna take some shredded chicken, add some Frank's Red Hot sauce to that. If you like things spicy, there is one you can buy called Extra Hot. And then stir that together. On half of a flour tortilla, you're going to add some cheese. We used a habanero blend, but you could use a Tex-Mex blend. And then we're going to put some diced red pepper, some sliced jalapenos, diced onion, and some of that buffalo chicken. You could add more of any of these ingredients or less. That's again the beauty of freezer meals, is you can totally customize them. Now, with the quesadillas, the trick to them is that you're gonna fold that other side over, that other half over, and then you need to freeze these flat before you transfer them into your freezer bag, because that way they won't stick together, and that way you can just pull out one or two at a time on the day you go to cook them. These can be cooked in a skillet and flipped over halfway, or they can be baked in the oven, and I think these would probably work in the air fryer.
Oh, they would totally work in the air fryer. I would probably brush it with oil a little bit, but you could totally do these in the air fryer, for sure. The taquitos are pretty similar, so we already had that hot sauce on the chicken. I added a little bit more just to show you in the video, and we mixed it in. We're also then going to mix in some ranch dressing, some cream cheese, and some more shredded cheese, and this time we used jalapeno Monterey Jack. Mixed that all together for the filling of the taquitos, and then we took our tortilla and put a line right down the middle, not too heavy, not too light, and then we just roll it up. And again, just like the quesadillas, we're gonna freeze these individually on parchment paper on a cookie sheet in the freezer, so that when we go to put them in our bag, they won't stick together. And again, you can just take out one or two. These are dynamite in the air fryer. I do know that. And I do brush them with a little bit of oil. I don't think you have to. Sometimes if I'm being lazy, I'll spray them with Pam. Totally works. And you can cook them from frozen, which is really, really nice. And I think you can too with the quesadillas.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And for these, you could add blue cheese or blue cheese dressing in them. We just didn't happen to have any. But if you like blue cheese, that's a great way to kind of take these up a notch.
Absolutely. Taquitos and the cheeseburger quesadillas are really similar to the chicken ones that we just did. For the cheeseburger quesadillas, we're going to start it with our tortilla, add some cheddar cheese, then some crumbled browned beef, and a little bit of relish to make it a little bit more cheeseburgery and authentic-y. Some more cheese, and then we fold it up and set it aside on our tray. When we go to cook these, kind of like the chicken ones we just talked about, you can do them in the oven, you can do them in a skillet, or probably in your air fryer. We haven't done it yet. And I was saying to Charla when we go to eat this, because they look so good, it's like, you know, we could dip these in ketchup or dip them in mustard or a little bit of mayo and ketchup mixed together. I think you can buy it, like mayo chup. That's a thing. I've never bought it because I usually have both and I could just make my own if I need to. But you could totally do that, and I think they would be really good and a great kid-friendly snack too.
Super kid-friendly.
Super kid-friendly. The taquitos, same idea. We are mixing together our ground beef that's been browned. We're adding in some onion and some cheddar cheese. We're gonna mix those together, lay them in a file on our tortilla, roll them up and get them onto our cookie sheet and into the freezer. These are also super kid-friendly. Maybe not the onion, depends on your kid, right? You don't have to tell them. It's all wrapped up inside there. They might not know.
And for these, you could dip them in salsa if you wanted.
They would be really good with salsa or like any kind of dip. Like
my kids would probably eat them with Thai sweet chili sauce.
Oh, that would be good.
They like anything with Thai sweet chili sauce. Now, this Tex-Mex rice casserole, I actually made two of them. I made one that is family sized and have it in the freezer for our family for another day. And the other one I made in a bowl so that we could section it out into individual containers. The reason I did this is because I hadn't fully read the recipes first. And this one calls for a 14-ounce can of tomatoes as well.
Oh,
so I could have done half in the mulligatawny soup and half in the Tex-Mex rice casserole, and we would have been all good. But it's kind of a happy accident because we ended up with double the soup and now a family size of the Tex-Mex rice casserole, and one for individual sizes.
The more the merrier.
Now I did these in containers that are freezer safe, dishwasher safe, and microwave safe. So these are perfect to throw into the microwave if you want. It's a really nice thing to have, again, for lunches or if you live on your own. We just mixed together in a bowl some cooked rice that had been cooled because we want all the ingredients to be cool when we put them in the freezer. Then some salsa, a can of green chilies, a can of corn that's drained, some black beans that are rinsed and drained, cilantro, cumin, chili powder, salt, pepper, those diced tomato, half can. Then we added in some shredded cheddar cheese and mozzarella cheese. We're gonna mix that all together in the bowl and then divide these into the individual containers. It ended up giving me 5 containers, so 5 meals. And then I topped each of those with a little bit of extra mozzarella and cheddar cheese. We used a marble blend for cheddar, but there you go. 5 more meals.
And something that you may want to know, if you like these containers, we have an Amazon store. Oh yes, we do. And there's a link in the description below for that. And it has containers, it has the bags we like, it has the chopper we like, it has the, you name it, and we like it, it's in there. It even has lists for good gifts because we had a 12 days of Christmas here back last year in December. And so we showed you lots of things that are our favorites. Ooh, the mats that we stand on to save our feet and our knees.
Those are so nice.
They are really nice. We're standing on one right now. So go check that out and have a look through there.
Yesterday, which won't be yesterday in YouTube land time, but yesterday in real life, we got together. For those of you that don't know, Christy's my neighbor 2 doors down, and we do this together.
All the time.
So yesterday we got together to make seafood stuffed shells, which is a recipe that is so amazing, but labor intensive. So we don't do it often.
We don't do it often. It is pretty labor intensive, but you know, we had enough here. My family really likes it, and Charlotte's family, only her and her son are super fans of the shells because of the seafood. Not everybody's a seafood fan. Trust me, they are delicious. If you like seafood at all, you will want to eat these. But it made more sense for their family to have smaller sized ones, and we thought, you know, this would go really good in our meal prep for one video that we are going to be filming tomorrow. So we make things work that way, and now we have some meals for you.
And this will give us more variety. We already had a lot of variety, but it's gonna be more variety because we've got a side dish, we've got vegetarian, we've got ground beef, we've got chicken.
We've got pork. Now we have seafood, and we have soup, we have baked potatoes, we have, like, you name it, we kind of have it in this video. And we have very fancy seafood stuffed shells.
Now, they are involved. This is something that you maybe want to do on a separate day, like we did ours yesterday, than the day that you put all the rest of this together. Because the rest of this, we kind of had things going all at the same time. You know, potatoes cooking and soup cooking and Kahlua Pork cooking while I'm mixing together the rice casserole. And while you were doing a lot.
I was rolling taquitos like my life depended on it.
That's right. And so, you know, today's stuff came together really well, but it was a full day. So if you want to do the shells, we just recommend you do them on a separate day.
Do them on their own day. And you know what? They go into your freezer. It could have been the same day. It could have been 3 days apart from your next session of some meal prep. And the freezer doesn't know the difference. Nobody's going to taste a difference within 3 or 4 days. You take your time with those.
So instead of going through with you and doing the step by step of these shells because they are so involved and we don't want to overwhelm you, if you're interested at all, we're going to pop a link right up there and also in the description down below if you're watching on a television and you don't see the little links up there. And we just invite you to go and watch the video where we make the shells because there we break it down for you. And we don't want to overwhelm you today because all the rest of this was like easy to do and manageable.
Completely. The shells,
Right.
but they're so worth it. They're so worth it, but you just do them on their own.
And so after we did those buffalo chicken quesadillas and taquitos, we had some chicken left, like I was saying earlier. And so with that shredded chicken, because we hate anything going to waste, I took that and just added some thick teriyaki sauce that I had in the fridge. Because again, I'm using up things and not wasting them.
She can rummage around and find you have no idea what, except for cardamom today.
Right, I could not find cardamom, but everything else. And just mix that teriyaki in with the chicken in a small bowl. And then in those nice microwavable containers, I took some rice that I had left over from when I made that Tex-Mex rice casserole. Because you're making the rice anyway, just make this much more. And sectioned the rice and then some frozen vegetables. We used broccoli today, but you could use peas, you could use green beans, you could use some frozen mixed vegetables. And then you've got your teriyaki chicken. So another meal, full meal, because you've got your sides and everything.
Totally.
Is done and in the freezer. And we managed to get 2 out of what we had left for the chicken.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's pretty accomplished. We did great.
Yeah, and I mean, when we were prepping, we just cooked the chicken. We just baked ours in the oven. You could do yours in the Instant Pot. We've often done that because it's easier to shred. And then you have it for 3 different meals. And your rice, you're gonna cook that up. We use that in 2 meals.
Yes.
And then your ground beef, we use that in the taquitos and the cheeseburger
Quesadillas.
So, and your onions, same thing.
If you're gonna chop 1 onion, chop 5 and make all this stuff. It's the same cutting board, same knife. You're saving yourself so many dishes. You don't understand.
And time.
And time.
You got it out anyway, you might as well just do a few more. So this is really doable. It is more doable if you have the recipes and you know the system. So we do invite you to check down below. We've got links to recipes. We've got links to, like Christy was saying, to our Amazon store, to our Freezer Meals 101 Club, where you can find more instructional videos, plus the system that allows you to print off your shopping list, your prep list, and your labels with the cooking instructions. So there's all kinds of goodness in the description below.
All kinds of goodness. You should check it out. And if you're on your TV, it's a little tougher to do, but maybe mosey on over to a computer or your phone and have a look. And if nothing else, have a look at freezermeals101.com and you will see many recipes there and other links that you should probably look at.
We're gonna pop a video right over there to some freezer meals for 2 that we recently did, because you might find that some of the recipes today piqued your interest, but some of them were not really to your liking. If you go over there to that other video, then you'll find there's some recipes there that you are super interested in, because they are all different recipes.
We have something for everybody. We really, really do.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been fun.
It's been really fun. We're glad to have you here.
Happy cooking.